Hello. Hello, everyone. What was I going to say? Oh, as usual, links to donate are down in the description. I tried to add some. There's a few I need to add. But for whatever reason, I can't do it on my phone because I'm doing this on my laptop. And I can't do it on my phone. So I'll it won't let me see the video before it's live or whatever on my phone. So can't so I'll add those later. I gotta do that. I also realized that I'm not wearing a shirt under this, and I'm gonna have to probably take it off at some point because it's a little warm in here. So yeah, please donate if you can. I finished the book I was reading, Animal Farm by George Orwell. It's pretty good. I don't think I've ever read it before. Katie said it was mandatory reading in high school or something, but I went to kind of a dumb high school. So I don't believe I had to read it. I was also in high school, if I had to read it my senior year, I kind of gave up because like the school was dicking me around. So I was just like, fuck it, I'm not going to do anything. But also like from like freshman to junior year, I was good enough to just kind of like smart enough to just like kind of do what I needed to do to pass and still get good grades. So so yeah. So maybe I was supposed to read it and didn't. But I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. Everything's depressing. The shit coming out of Sudan is fucking horrific in ways that are just fucking, I don't know. But we persevere or whatever, or we just don't do anything. What was I gonna say? I was talking about. I was going in the direction of something, and then I just completely forgot what I was doing. Fuck. Just lost my train of thought. Whatever. Maybe I'll just do this with no shirt on. Just fucking, I don't know. I gotta get a picture of the cats. See, cats. And a bunch of shit in the background. I don't know. Just everything's fucked. Just I feel very very torn is maybe the word. I feel like there's a different word I'm looking for, but oh, I was talking about Animal Farm. I finished Animal Farm, and it's just fucking, I don't know. But I started reading. I didn't even get to the actual book part of it yet because there's an introduction and a preface. And I read the introduction, and now I got to read the preface. I usually, depending on how long they are, I usually read 1 or 2 chapters ish a day, a night, every other day, whatever. So I got through the introduction on the did I even say what book it was? It was the it was the book I showed in my last live stream. The testimony from Gaza about from Saeed, maybe is his name, their name. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to actually getting into that, and also not looking forward to actually getting into that because but yeah, Animal Farm was interesting. It's interesting, and it's kind of like depressing in a way when you read something. I think Animal Farm was written by George Orwell in 46, I think it said, or the copyright was in 46. Yeah, because I think the book that I have, it's an old book, but I think the copyright said 46, but the book must have been released in the late 50s. And I think George Orwell died in 50. So yeah. I'm not sure if 46 is when it was written, or that's just the copyright for whatever, however copyrights work. But it's weird and depressing and kind of, I don't know. There's maybe a solace to it, or I don't know, knowing that stuff that is happening now, it has happened before and will probably happen again. And it's just fucking, I don't know, losing I've pretty much lost the faith in humanity that the little bit that I had left over from experiencing life over the years. Pretty much don't have any of it left. Oh, me. But yeah. So, come on. But yeah, it was a good read. It's a short book. But yeah, so I'm reading. I started reading the that other Testimony from Gaza book. I don't have anything here to show you, so but but yeah. I'm just don't know what to think anymore. Not sure what to do with myself. Feels weird going to work and stuff, knowing that when we go to work, the tax dollars that we generate are going to murder people, and going to people who don't that I think a lot of them have no connection to the United States, but our tax dollars fund their health care, fund their housing, fund their all the shit that we don't have. All that money is going to do that for other people in Israel, settlers in the West Bank. Should say colonizers in the West Bank, genocidal colonizers in the West Bank. Israel is an apartheid state. But then also, like, people who say they give a shit about, like, oh no, ICE is doing this or whatever. This hat fits weird on my head. I feel like. But ICE is literally kidnapping people now and fucking kidnapping and fucking killing people and just fucking doing whatever. And those people who act like they care aren't doing anything about that either. They might say they give a shit or act like they give a shit, but but when it comes down to it, there's no material difference in their lives as far as, like, what they do, or it doesn't affect them, so they don't have to. I mean, this shit doesn't really affect me. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know who watching this would But there was a story last year. Yeah, it would have been last year, pretty sure. Or maybe it was earlier this year. I don't know. About a guy from New Jersey got shot by the IOF, got shot in the leg. He survived. He came back to New Jersey. And I met him at I met him at the Watermelon 5K. He was wearing a shirt, homemade shirt that said something like, "This is my first race since being shot by the IOF on whatever date it was." And yeah, so just like, and he's apparently a friend of ours, and so like I'm connected to it in that way. Well, yeah. But yeah. Sorry. So yeah, hair's getting long. Got some nice grays. My little cowlick thing's coming back. But yeah, I don't like. I understand now why community is so important. Because like, I don't know, when I first started doing these live streams, it was I had, well, I want to say more energy, but like more energy for me. And oh, excuse me. And it was like it was a thud or something. Yeah, but oh no, it's exhausting. Where we live is fucking. If I knew how life was going to unfold, I definitely would not have agreed to move into this place. This has been has been not good. Let's see. Let's do a little reading, I guess. And all this AI bullshit. It's just fucking like, as the title says, we are living in the end times, and everybody is acting like fucking like I've said this before. Like, the government is shut down and people are Katie did say earlier today that apparently a judge did rule that uh, the government did have to provide benefits for the people. So people may or may not be losing their benefits. But Christ. If you're using AI, stop it. Fuck you. Okay. Millions in Sudan are facing starvation, and some have been forced to eat rats just to survive. I'm working with charities on the ground to support displaced families from. This is it's a specific thing, but we eat rats, insects, leaves, birds in the forest, and wild animals. Grasshoppers are the main source of food. We eat rats if we can find any, but we have eaten most of them. Kids even run to catch dogs to eat them. We spot a boy caught and cooked a plate of rats. Here's what a rare source of meat. We eat rat. Whatever. Oh, Jesus Christ, get this fucking AI shit away from me. Kids are still being killed in Gaza. Some people have gotten numb to it, but I can't. Every time I see another Palestinian child killed, my whole body gets cold. My chest tightens, my eyes water, and feel rage like never before. I hate that this world just watches while our children are slaughtered by Israel. Yeah. I have gotten numb to it. I mean, it doesn't. I mean, I know it affects me, but I don't react the same way all the time. Sometimes, every once in a while, like I'll I'll back away and then from like social media and like the Trump administration is restricting the number of refugees admitted to the U.S. to 7,500, and they will be mostly white South Africans. The idea that white South Africans are some kind of endangered and oppressed minority is straight up Nazi white genocide nonsense. And these ideas are what's underlying Trump's policies regarding refugees. Yeah. But like you can say like how bad Trump is. You can talk about how he is fucking everything up. But you also have to know, or you also have to realize that he is not some sort of fucking what's the word? Uh sorry. I just looked at the cats because they're being cutie. Um Trump isn't some fucking enigma that just happened out of nowhere. Yeah, like people are talking about climate change and how Trump is like not doing anything for climate change and this is really bad and whatever. And yeah, no fucking president in the last fucking ever. I don't know about yeah. I think since climate change has been a big topic, there have been zero presidents that have done any sort of significant thing to combat climate change. They haven't pushed back on the fossil fuel industry at all because those fossil fuel people pay politicians to look the other way and whatever. Um, fucking just it's like absolutely absurd, just how like fucking one dimensional people are. Just like and people are selfish. I don't think it's human nature to be selfish the way people are. Um, but like people are selfish and people look at things and say that doesn't affect me, so I don't care, or whatever. I thought of an analogy earlier, or analogy metaphor, I don't know, whatever. I think analogy is the right um that that the meme where uh it's or whatever. I think it was I think it existed before memes were a thing, but the if you push this button, one person you don't know will die, um, but you'll get $1 million or whatever it is. And then it turned into a meme, and then it's fucking gone. Had lots of iterations since then. But but the amount of resources and shit that, well, I guess just resources, because resources include the power, the water, just like all the shit that AI uses, these data centers and shit that are going to be used for surveillance. Obviously, AI is just the shit that they are. They're they're masking it with or whatever. But the amount of resources that this AI bullshit are, is using, like, is killing people. So, like, when you ask Chat GPT a question, you are fucking killing somebody. It might not be immediate. It may not be. It may not even be like. It may not even be as like 1-to-1, like you ask Chat GPT a question and one person dies, but like the amount of resources, the amount of pollution that it is creating like the category 5 fucking hurricane that hit Jamaica yesterday, 2 days ago, or is hitting it now. No, I think it's over. I think it was yesterday, maybe. Fucking people died, and I'm not even saying like uh like obviously climate disasters and stuff have been happening for a while. Um, so it's not even. I'm just using examples. I'm not saying AI, but that's how. I think the point I'm trying to make is that's how far removed it is from it. So people don't consider that, and that's what makes the shit dangerous. And that's what, and I don't know. And people are like, "Oh, but I don't have to work as hard." Yeah, well, you may not have a place to live depending on where you live. Um, People who live in these communities outside data centers who have no clean drinking water or clean water in general, uh, to bathe or anything. It's fucking gross. It's fucking dumb. Dumb. I don't know why I said dumb. It's fucking just depressing and just horrifying, and yeah, I don't know. It's weird because you always think, and I've said this before too, like when you hear stories like from World War II or whatever, and you're like, oh well, if I was there, I would be I would do better than the people, and I would get involved and make sure that stuff didn't happen. Well, it's been happening, and a lot of people are not doing anything. Um, And I don't mean to, because I am in the same. Oh, excuse me. I am in the the same boat. I'm not judging anyone for their how much or how little they participate or do things. I'm still trying to figure out where I should be, where I exist in in this um in combating these issues. So I'm not by saying this, I'm not judging anyone, except unless you are not doing anything, then I am judging you. But uh I went too far out and then I lost what I was doing. Hmm. Um, let's see. Oh, so people are. Let me just put it this way. People are really disappointing me. I'm disappointing myself as well. Um, but people are really disappointing me in the way they are reacting to the things that are going on, or or not reacting to the things that are going on. I think I was going to say more on that, but I think that pretty much summed up what I was trying to say. So I'm going to just leave it at that. Um, but yeah, there was something else I wanted to talk about, which is let me. What was I doing? I was looking something up. Oh, that's oh, sorry. Gotta go here, and then right here. All right. So all right. I'm gonna try to read this. There are some words in here that I'm probably gonna mispronounce. Um, so this is a post from Mumbai Poetry, Mumbipoetry, on Instagram, and uh, so it's a video. So I'm gonna read the caption and then I will try to I've watched the video. I watched like half of it and then I watched the whole thing because it was blowing my mind a little bit. And I don't. I think when I first started watching it, I was not really understanding what it was, and then I had to go back and whatever. But so the caption says to contextualize us more when Mbiti, um, like I said, pronunciation is probably wrong or not good. Says African peoples had no concept of the future. He doesn't mean they couldn't plan, prepare, or think ahead. Rather, what he's saying is the future does not exist as an abstract, infinite horizon. He was a theologian, so he contrasted this with the idea of a distant heaven, hell in Christianity, which isn't found in the communities he studied because the relationship with God is very much here and now. Time is tied to events. So when farmers prepare land or store food, they are planning towards an expected event. These events are already part of the rhythmic cycle of Sasa and Zamani. They've been experienced before, therefore they are real. What Africans didn't emphasize was a distant, open ended future divorced from concrete events. Also, yes, Kiswahili does have words for the future, but these words tend to describe the near foreseeable or collective future rather than an abstract infinite future. Also, Mbiti acknowledges that there are thousands of African communities, and in his own words, he says his work is a general survey using two Bantu communities as case studies, and therefore there is no room for in-depth analysis of every unique and complex system of each group, but the work has to start somewhere. So yeah. So hold on. Africa's greatest philosophers, and in 1960. So it says, I'm going to try to read the because it's the video is captioned. So what if I told you that for many African societies, the concept of the future doesn't exist? And instead of time moving forwards, time actually moves backwards. This was the work of John Mbiti, one of Kenya's and Africa's greatest philosophers. And in 1969, he wrote something that completely reimagines the way we think of African time. Mbiti says time is a two-dimensional phenomenon with a long past, vibrant present, and virtually no future. Using Swahili words, he describes the two dimensions of time. The first one being Sasa, the now, the recent past, and the immediate future, which can be experienced. The second dimension is Zamani. Zamani is the vast, endless past where all events eventually go on to live forever. But the future, in African thought, it barely exists. Because time is made up of events, time has to be experienced in order to be real. So because we can't conceptualize events tied to the distant future because they haven't been experienced yet, then therefore the future cannot constitute part of time. And this is why, according to Mbiti, African languages, at least the East African Bantu languages that he studied, don't have a word to describe the distant future. In African time, according to Mbiti, events create time. Seasons, ceremonies, a conversation, these moments produce time. And people produce as much time as they need. An example that Mbiti uses from the communities that he studied is that a year is measured based on 4 seasons, 2 dry seasons, 2 wet seasons. So a year is only over when those 4 seasons have taken place. So a year could take 365 days, 390 days. It doesn't matter the number of days in a year. What matters is that the 4 seasons have taken place. And this is in contrast to the Western view towards time, where time is a commodity, something that can be spent, saved, wasted, or lost. And according to MBT, this is why if foreigners come to Africa and they see people sitting under a tree, they would remark, why are they wasting so much time? But in African thought, the act of sitting under a tree is not wasting time. It's either waiting for time or producing time. For me, I think this Western idea of time as a commodity is what drives this Western obsession of progress, development, and some promised future. And this difference shapes everything from politics, economics, to how we live our daily lives. Because in African thought, the golden age isn't in the future, it's actually in the Zamani. According to MBT, the future is only a shadow until it comes to the present, and then it flows into the Zamani. So in that way, time moves backwards. We are not the ones moving forward into time. So of course MBT wrote this from a theological point of view because he was trying to explain the nature of African religions. But my main takeaway from the parts of the book that I've read is that unlike Western cultures or Western favored religions with end of the world myths, African time has no end. Seasons, years, birth, marriage, death, it's all a cycle. Okay. So yeah. And I've been thinking about that a lot lately. And yeah. Yeah. So there's another video that she does where she recommends some books, and I'm going to I have I'm reading the one book now, and I have another book I want to read. I have at least one more book I want to read that I have. I have so many books. But after I finish this one, there's at least one more book that I have that I want to read, and then I'll probably try to get some of these books that she recommends. Maybe while I'm reading these books. We'll see. I have so many books. But yeah, so I'm doing the best I can. And I guess that's all I can do. And I know I can do better, and I'm working on doing better. And we'll see. Like, let's see. This is interesting. An NYPD camera points directly into their bedroom. They're suing the city over it. It's the first suit to take on the NYPD's massive surveillance network, the largest in the world, that police use to track and profile millions of New Yorkers every day. On a quiet street in Brooklyn's Bed-Stuy neighborhood, a camera owned and operated by the New York City Police Department points directly at the bedroom window of Pamela Rid and Robert Suave. It can see potentially directly into any part of our house, Suave told The Intercept. The camera is one of tens of thousands that feed into a massive warrantless surveillance system that police use to track and profile millions of New Yorkers each day. Many of the cameras, including those mounted to drones and helicopters, as well as stationary cameras like the one just outside Suave's bedroom and living room, are owned, operated, and bear the logo of the NYPD. Footage from tens of thousands of other privately owned cameras, however, like those posted outside of shops, businesses, and banks, are also made available to the NYPD through a little publicized tool that holds one of the world's biggest networks of security cameras, the city's domain awareness system. Wright and Suave are plaintiffs in a federal lawsuit filed Monday against the city of New York, which holds responsibility for the NYPD over the department's expansive surveillance machine, one of the largest in the world, that their attorneys say violates their First and Fourth Amendment rights to free association. Got it. Expression and privacy. The NYPD did not immediately respond to a request for comment. The suit is the first of its kind of take. The first of its kind of take. The first of its kind to, I think it's supposed to be to take on the NYPD surveillance system. Quote, we see state and local police departments effectively being co-opted, our data being used and abused by other government agencies said attorney Albert Kahn of the Surveillance Technology Jesus Christ, Oversight Project, one of the attorneys representing Sov and Rit in the case. I don't know how to pronounce their last names. So, whatever. There's at least one case that plaintiffs' attorneys know of in which data originally collected in the domain awareness system was eventually shared with U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch was an architect of the surveillance apparatus, which police use to join data from public and private sources across the city, collecting information on people's identities, their biometric data, their daily movements, their social media activity, and people with whom they associate. The NYPD uses that information combined with forms of machine learning to build profiles that construct the activities, religious and political affiliations, and thoughts and beliefs of millions of people and stores that information indefinitely. If that doesn't terrify you, you're fucked up. The NYPD is a model for the nearly 18,000 state and local police departments across the country that are increasingly acting like mini NSA and CIA operations. Attorneys in the New York case hope it will be the start of a wider effort to take on police surveillance networks in other cities where police departments with bipartisan support and unprecedented amounts of cash have built up their surveillance capacity and weaponizing it to political ends. Quote, the NYPD may be the worst offender. The NYPD may be the worst offender, but they're also a model for the nearly 18,000 state and local police departments across the country that are increasingly acting like mini NSA and CIA operations. Khan said, American policing runs on data. You are being watched. The reach of the surveillance is largely unknown to many city dwellers, but the domain awareness system received public scrutiny during the police search for Luigi Mangione. Mangione? Who was tracked using the multitude of cameras throughout the city to which the NYPD has access. You are being watched, the plaintiffs wrote in their suit. Today, throughout New York City, the police are monitoring, tracking, and cataloging you nearly everywhere, nearly all the time. All the surveillance is made possible by the domain awareness system, they wrote. Quote, it is a voyeuristic policing platform that unifies into one centralized network more than a dozen technologies, public and private, including video camera systems, tracking technologies, biometric tools, data and financial aggregation, analytics, and digital communications monitors. Companies like Microsoft, Clearview AI, Patternizer, Dataminr have all bolstered the NYPD's surveillance system, which feeds into controversial policing tools like the citywide gang database and ShotSpotter. Attorneys hope the lawsuit will shed light on other private companies and federal agencies that have access to data collected by the NYPD. There is no one firm, quote, there is no one firm that is really enabling this mass surveillance, Khan said. That's what's key to this lawsuit. Through the system, the NYPD collects the identity, location, banking details, vehicle information, social media activity, and friend groups of all who live in or enter the city. It combines these entries with civil and criminal records and converts them into digital profiles, reconstructing, in effect, the private lives of millions. It is virtually impossible to avoid, according to the suit. Previous lawsuits and legislative battles have targeted smaller pieces of the surveillance system, but the new case focuses on the broader constitutional harm that plaintiffs say is greater than the sum of its parts. Not a hotspot for crime. Since the camera was first installed outside Rit and Sov's home in April 2022, the couple said it's changed the character of her neighborhood and negatively affected their mental health and well-being. We had to mirror tint all our windows. We can't open them because if we do, we're exposed, Sov said. There's very hot days. I like having my windows open. I can't even do that. Rit said her house no longer feels like a home. Quote, your home is supposed to be your safe space, and I feel very violated, she said. It's constant. It never goes away. That level of feeling a violation. The couple said the surveillance has been a point of contention and disagreement among their neighbors. They've notified others who live on their block and engaged some of them in their efforts to get rid of the cameras. Some people are uncomfortable with the cameras and don't spend as much time outside on the block anymore, Ritz said. And while their neighborhood hasn't had an issue with crime, others see it as their own personal security system. Quote, our approach has been to educate our neighbors and let them decide how they would like to proceed, Ritz said. There's no crime on our block. This is not a hotspot for crime. So of course your brain is going to go in other directions. Why is it there? At first, Sov and Rit weren't sure where the cameras feeds went. When they learned that they were collected into the city's wider surveillance network, they felt repulsed. Now Sov worries that lack that's one that like a public these are screenshots, so they don't always match up. Um, worries that the lack of public knowledge about the domain awareness system breeds complacency and gives authorities the space to entrench it. Quote, it's like my greatest concern and my greatest fear was confirmed, Sov said. People that are oblivious to the whole surveillance state we're in, they're getting more and more comfortable with it being there. Yeah, fuck that. Let's see. Mm, let's see. Oh, here's the federal court has ordered the Trump administration to pay next month's SNAP benefits and use $6 billion in contingency funds to do so. Two federal judges in Massachusetts and Rhode Island said that the Trump admin must tap into the $5.3 billion in emergency funds to at least partially cover food stamps. It says keep donating and planning to help your community. Who knows what will happen with this? Yeah. Um, Luigi Mangione, is it Mangione or Mangione? I forget. Is known as the ambassador at the MDC in Brooklyn, where he has earned everyone's respect by helping new inmates adjust, explaining how prison life works, and offering them support. Why inmates are calling Luigi Mangione the ambassador at his Brooklyn jail. Luigi Mangione, 27, is currently behind bars at Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn and has become one of the more well-known inmates at the facility. He's referred to as the ambassador at the MDC in Brooklyn because of the time he spends getting new inmates acclimated to jail. Arthur Aidala, a lawyer who has represented the likes of Harvey Weinstein and former MDC inmate Ghislaine Giz. It's so funny how, like, when I don't say things out loud, like, I know how to say them in my head, and then as soon as I try to say them out loud, I have no idea what the fuck. Maxwell tells people Mangione is a model prisoner and very, very well liked. Mangione is currently in federal custody and facing both state and federal charges related to the murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson on December 4th, 2024. Man, it's already been a year. Jeez. Or, well, 10 months. Secret U.S. report reveals Israeli army committed hundreds of violations in Gaza without accountability. Yeah, no shit. All right. I think I'm gonna. IDF says Gaza ceasefire restored after dozens of terror targets and terrorists struck. That's how Israel described its slaughter of at least 30 children last night. Yeah. There's a siren going off. I don't know if it's. Doesn't seem to be weather related. It's kind of wet out today, so I don't know if there's something on fire. Let's see. This is a woman talking about I told them not to beat him. He's an orphan. Immediately they hit me and I fell down. They dragged the boy away and told him to crawl. He was crawling while they were beating him with a rod, beating him on the head until he bled out. It's very sad. What shall we do? It's God's will. Distressing video shows Missouri cop gunned down lost 13-pound deaf and blind dog. What am I supposed to do? Would you guys be surprised to learn that the body cam footage shows him following the dog around for a good 30 seconds before shooting it out of nowhere? Yeah. I don't know. All right. Looking for stuff to read. I don't know fucking anymore. I talked about all the things I want to talk about, so I don't know.
Selling a product they don't believe in. Right. But Democrats aren't. So how does that square? We need to do better. I mean, this is. I guess we're done. Well, we do. Republicans are selling a product they don't believe in. Right. But Democrats aren't. So how does that square? We need to do better. I mean, this is.
Police. What is that? Mexico? Flag. There's a flag. It says police commissioner walks into cafe filled with hitmen and gets riddled with bullets. November 13th, 2023. Entire restaurant filled with fake customers that are actually all hitmen is fucking nuts.
No tricks, just treats. Everyone.
Fuck you.
What someone's at work, we know that. Post the caption, pray none of my enemies hold me captive. I grieve different. Post the caption, pray none of my enemies hold. I don't speak Armenian, but I can do this. Armenian. I don't speak Armenian.
Sorry about that. Went down into a little bit of a... I'll be right back. I gotta check on Clara. Oh. Yeah. So, how's everybody doing out there? Now that ever since I've been off the StreamYard, since I got kicked off the StreamYard, let's not feels like I haven't gotten much interaction. I don't know if that's I don't know if YouTube I'm like fucking over YouTube too. Like I feel like this is I don't know. I literally just wanna So yeah. We out here doing fucking shit and whatever. I don't know. I feel useless most of the time. Sorry, I'm getting like sucked into fucking. I don't know. I also I got stuff for. Katie bought me this mic. I was planning on taking it to the Isle of Man last year. It literally got delivered the day we left, and we left earlier in the day, so we weren't here. I think it got delivered by the time we got to the airport, it had been delivered. So I haven't used it at all. And I finally got some like it's a little mic that just plugs into the to the to the phone, but because of the case, it I'd have to take the case off to use it, so I haven't used it at all. I got it because I was gonna do beer reviews in the Isle of Man on the iPad, and but that did end up happening. So, but I recently got some cables finally that so I can plug it in without taking the case off. The only thing that sucks is it doesn't really have like a mounting thing. So like I wish it had like a little just like clamp or something on it. I did a quick search for it, but I didn't see anything, but we'll see. I don't think there is one because it's meant to plug directly into a phone or whatever, and it's just supposed to sit on the phone. So whatever. So yeah. It's 7:30. I've been on here for an hour and a half, even though like 45 minutes of that was me just fucking staring off into space. But let's see if I can find something real quick. Jesus Christ. Karon? I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. It's Karon. Hilton, was a DC native and a new father to a 3-month-old baby girl. He was riding a registered motorcycle and was struck from the back by a DC Police Department. Not only was there a previous pattern of harassment inflicted on him by MPD, and then it's a but then so that's like a post. Shut up. And then it said, and then Renee, I think that says there's like stuff covering it. Says checked him into the hospital as a John Doe and pulled the plug without consent from his family. This is pure evil. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna go because I'm fucking exhausted and fucking don't know what to say or talk about because Israel killed most of the journalists in Gaza, so there's not much coming out of Gaza. And I don't know if that's why the stuff coming out of Sudan is more visible now, or if people are just releasing shit that's going on. I don't know. Anyway, free Palestine, Sudan, Congo. All those who are oppressed, including ourselves. See you in the next one. Or whatever. What the fuck? I hit the wrong button. Peace.